Welcome back to Pindrop Perspectives, and oh boy, do we have a fun one for you this week, folks. Mark and Jen are diving into a spec script for what would have been the premiere episode of Season 3 of Netflix's Daredevil show. While Netflix eventually produced the full third season, and now Disney has revitalized the series with Daredevil Born Again, this look into the speculative episode Without Fear is truly fascinating and will leave you wondering what could have been. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Daredevil Without Fear by Pindrop Entertainment.
Okay, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring something a little bit different. And I know you guys are going to be super excited about this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
We're going to be taking a look at an unproduced spec script for a potential future of the Daredevil series. And the title of the script is Without Fear. And you guys know Daredevil. You know the character.
Right.
This is really a cool opportunity to sort of peek behind the curtain and see a potential path that the story could have taken. You know, these what-if scenarios.
I love these kinds of things. It's so interesting. You know, you get to sort of see the different directions that the writers and the creators considered and why they maybe chose one path over the other.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, this one picks up after The Defenders, right? Where we last saw Matt Murdock seemingly, you know, perishing.
Right, yeah. Big building collapse, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. But he's not dead.
Big surprise. Yeah.
Big surprise. So the script opens up actually 3 months prior to the main action. And we see Matt waking up in a very sparse room, blind and pretty seriously injured.
Oh, wow.
And he's being cared for by nuns.
That's a very different setting for Matt Murdock, isn't it?
It is. It is. So right off the bat, we're getting this sense of a kind of spiritual rebirth or some kind of, you know, very different kind of a recovery process than maybe what we'd expect.
Yeah, you have to wonder what kind of effect that would have on someone like him, you know, with his background and his whole way of being.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then, you know, we flash forward to the present day of the script, and Daredevil reemerges in Hill's kitchen, and it's not a quiet return.
Oh, I bet.
It's a very intense scene at a seaport where he finds himself embroiled in a situation involving a mysterious green mist.
A green mist?
A green mist, a new masked figure, and to top it all off, a news story that brands him a killer.
Oh, so right out of the gate, they are really throwing some big challenges his way. I mean, that's a lot to deal with. A new threat, and then also a public relations nightmare on top of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I think to really break this down, we should start with Matt's reawakening, you know, going back to that scene.
Okay.
3 months prior, where he wakes up in this really sparse room. There's just a bed, a couple of windows, and a crucifix on the wall.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he's covered in bruises, clearly been through something horrific. You know, he realizes his blindness has returned. And then this woman appears, dressed all in black. Her name is Maggie, and she's a nun.
Okay.
And the things she says to him are really significant, I think.
What does she say?
Well, she says, don't worry about where you are, but rather who you are. Do you know who you are? So right away, she's sort of forcing him to confront this question of identity.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. You know, after such a traumatic experience, you have to wonder, can you really just go back to being who you were before? Or is there some fundamental change that's happened?
Exactly. And the religious aspect is really undeniable, you know, right from the start. She talks about this being a second chance, a rebirth, urging him to submit yourself to God. And she even quotes scripture saying, resist the devil and he will flee from you.
Wow, that's pretty heavy stuff. So they're really leaning into the spiritual dimension of his recovery.
They really are.
And what do you think that means for him, for his journey moving forward? Do you think this near-death experience has pushed him more towards faith, or is he resistant to that?
I think initially he's definitely resistant. He's in a lot of pain. He's very disoriented. He's grappling with the blindness. You know, he says things like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and I have to get out of here.
Yeah.
So there's definitely this initial denial of his new reality.
Yeah, that's understandable though, right? I mean, he's been through so much. It makes sense that he would push back against this new reality that he finds himself in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now let's jump back to the present and look at this seaport attack that I mentioned. The scene opens with these two armed groups meeting, one Italian, one American, in this really deserted, creepy location.
Okay.
Probably some kind of illicit deal going down.
Sounds like it.
And all of a sudden, this masked figure appears, and then this green mist just fills the air, and it starts causing people to have these really vivid hallucinations.
Oh, wow. That's creepy. So it's like a weaponized hallucinogen. What do you think the purpose of that is? Just to create chaos, or is there something more to it?
That's a great question. I mean, it's certainly causing a lot of chaos. People are turning on each other. They're seeing things. It's disrupting this meeting, whatever it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's a very effective way to disrupt a meeting and to sow discord among, potentially rival gangs.
Right. And then right in the middle of all this, Daredevil shows up.
Oh, of course he does.
Of course.
He's not looking so good, though. I mean, his suit is torn up from the events that led to his supposed death. It's like a reminder of everything he went through,
Yeah. It's almost like a symbol of his vulnerability, even though he's back in action.
And then the masked figure says this really cryptic line to him. He says, "Welcome to a world without fear."
Without fear. That's chilling. What do you think that means? Is that like the villain's philosophy or something?
It's definitely ominous, right? I mean, it could be the villain's philosophy, or it could be like a challenge directed specifically at Daredevil, like he's trying to create a world where Daredevil's whole thing is meaningless.
Yeah, or a world where even Daredevil is afraid. That's a scary thought.
So the Italians start firing these miniature syringes at Daredevil, and amidst all this chaos, with the Americans now fighting each other because of the hallucinations, two SUVs speed away, and Daredevil goes after them. But here's the thing. He's moving faster than before, more agile. He's dodging these syringes with incredible speed, and then he just takes off after those SUVs, leaving this whole hallucinatory mess behind him.
So he's somehow even more skilled than he was before. Do you think that's a result of his recovery or something more?
I think that's one of the big questions, right? Like, did something change about his powers or his abilities as a result of this near-death experience and the whole recovery process?
It would make sense, right? I mean, it's almost like he's been reborn.
Yeah, exactly. So he chases one of these SUVs to a strip club, and he lands right on the hood, causing it to crash. He takes down the driver, starts fighting the passenger, and then the masked figure who is hiding in the back with this device that sprays the toxin gets Daredevil with a direct blast.
Oh, no. Talk about a bad night.
Yeah, so now he's disoriented, stumbling. He goes into this crowded, super noisy strip club, and the script emphasizes how his heightened senses are just being completely overloaded by the toxin.
Oh, I bet. I mean, a strip club is already pretty overwhelming for most people, but for someone like Matt Murdock with his super senses, that must be absolutely agonizing.
Totally. It's all this music, voices, heartbeats, just this cacophony of sound. And to make matters worse, there's all these people in the club, and they're snorting some kind of white powder, injecting themselves with something.
So it's not exactly the best place to be when your senses are already compromised.
No, it's a really bad situation for him. He's trying to navigate this sensory chaos, and he gets caught up in a struggle with some of the strippers. And in this panic, trying to defend himself, he accidentally throws one of them, and she falls out a window.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Yeah, and it's a tragic accident. He didn't mean to do it. But the next day, the headline is, "Daredevil returns, kills innocent woman."
Oh, no. I mean, talk about being kicked while you're down. First the toxin, then the accident, and now this. It's like everything that can go wrong is going wrong.
Yeah. And it really sets the stage for this whole question of, can he come back from this? Can he reclaim his image? Can he even function as Daredevil with all these new challenges that he's facing?
Yeah, it's a whole new level of adversity for him to overcome.
Totally. So meanwhile, Karen Page, she sees this news report, and she's understandably freaked out, right?
Of course, she must be so worried.
Totally. So she tries to call Matt, but there's no answer.
Right.
So me and Karen, she decides to take matters into her own hands and starts investigating.
What does she do?
She goes to Matt's old apartment, but there's a young couple living there now.
Oh.
And they think he died in the building collapse.
So he's really become this ghost, this almost mythical figure.
Yeah, it's like he's been erased.
Right.
So she ends up going to the strip club to try and get some information about what happened.
Makes sense.
She talks to the bartender, but he's not much help.
Oh, I bet. Bartenders see a lot, and probably don't want to get involved.
Exactly. But she ends up talking to one of the other strippers, and she tells Karen that the injured woman's name was Mary Walker, and she was young, hardworking, kept to herself.
That's so sad. It really puts a human face on this tragedy, you know? It's not just a headline. It's a real person with a life and people who care about her.
Exactly. So then we cut to a completely different part of town, and we see Foggy Nelson in this really impressive boardroom, surrounded by lawyers, clearly doing well at this fancy new firm, Hogarth, Chow, and Benowitz.
Oh, wow. So he's really moved up in the world, huh?
He has, but there's this, subtle sense of dissatisfaction about him, like he's not entirely happy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder if he feels guilty or if he's still grieving for Matt. It's got to be hard to move on when you don't really know what happened.
Yeah. And right then, his phone vibrates. It's a voicemail from Karen.
Oh, I bet that's not good news.
It is not. So in the voicemail, she's like, Matt's back, Daredevil's back, you need to call me right now.
Oh, wow, she's straight to the point.
She is. But Foggy's reaction is really strange.
What does he do?
He's like, no, Matt's dead. This Daredevil, this imposter, he's not Matt. Karen, you need to move on.
Oh, wow, that's so harsh. It almost sounds like he's trying to convince himself as much as her.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in denial.
Right.
He's not ready to face the possibility that Matt might actually be alive.
Right.
So then we go back to Matt, another flashback to his time recovery with Maggie, and he's struggling. He's talking about his dad, Elektra, his friends, everybody he's lost.
It's a lot of loss to process, especially all at once.
It is, and Maggie tries to comfort him. She says, "You are loved, Matthew, and those that are gone love you for eternity."
Oh, that's a beautiful sentiment. It's that idea that even though people are gone, their love for you remains.
Exactly. So then we're back in the present, and Matt's in an abandoned warehouse, and he's still feeling the effects of that toxin.
Oh, so it's still messing with him.
Yeah, and then we see him holding Elektra's sai, which is such a powerful image.
Yeah.
It's this reminder of everything he's been through, the love that he's lost.
It's like a physical manifestation of his grief and his past.
And it seems to be this turning point for him, because the next thing we see is him putting on the Daredevil suit.
So he's decided to be Daredevil again?
Yeah, it's like he's choosing to embrace that identity, even with all this baggage,
Yeah, it's almost like a defiance of everything that's been thrown at him. He's not going to let this break him.
Exactly. So, wanting to figure out what he's up against, Daredevil goes to see Turk Barrett.
Of course he does. Turk always seems to have his finger on the pulse of Hell's Kitchen's underbelly.
Always.
So what does he want from Turk?
He's looking for information about an Italian dealer who's moving this new drug that can be injected or aerosolized like the green mist.
Okay.
Turk is a little reluctant, as always.
Yeah, he doesn't like to give up information too easily.
No, he doesn't. But eventually he tells Daredevil about the Drago family. They're known for dealing angel dust in Jersey, but it seems they're moving into Hell's Kitchen now.
Interesting. So they're trying to fill a power vacuum.
Yeah, and Turk mentions that the Punisher's actions against the Nucci family have basically left a big opening in the criminal underworld.
Oh, right. I'd almost forgotten about the Punisher. So he's back in the mix, too.
It seems so, which Daredevil is really surprised to hear.
Yeah.
He clearly had no idea that Frank Castle was back in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, that's a big piece of information to have missed. I mean, it really shows how isolated he's been during his recovery.
Yeah, for sure. So, wanting to learn more about this toxin, Matt, he pulls a classic Daredevil move.
Oh, what's he up to?
He disguises himself as Foggy Nelson,
Oh, that's good.
complete with a Mets cap pulled low and sunglasses worn indoors.
That's classic Matt. He's not very subtle, is he?
Not at all. And he goes to a local hospital, walks into the emergency room, and pretends to be having an overdose.
Oh, sneaky. So he's trying to get some medical insight into what this toxin does to people.
Exactly. And the doctor tells him that his blood work shows traces of some kind of altered PCP and other toxins that are similar to, like, candle poisoning or exposure to burning wax.
Wow, that's a really interesting detail.
It is.
So is it like a synthetic drug, or is there something more unusual about it?
It's hard to say for sure, but that connection to candle poisoning and burning wax, it's definitely kind of unsettling,
Yeah, it almost suggests that there's a ritualistic aspect to it or something.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's happening with Foggy while Matt is off playing doctor?
Well, Foggy's got his own drama going on.
Okay.
He's at Hogarth, Chow, and Benowitz, and he gets assigned to assist this senior lawyer, Larry Cranston, on a big case.
Okay, sounds pretty standard lawyer stuff. Who's the client?
That's the crazy part. The client is Wilson Fisk.
What? Wilson Fisk?
Yeah, Wilson Fisk. He's about to be released from prison.
Oh, no. This is bad news for Matt, for Hell's Kitchen, for everybody.
It's not good.
No, it's definitely not good. So what's Fisk like? Is he still the same calculating, manipulative guy?
Oh, yeah. We see him in Rikers Island, and he is not happy with his lawyer, Benjamin Donovan.
What's he unhappy about?
Well, Donovan's been handling his finances, and Fisk doesn't like the way he's been doing things.
So he's still got control even from prison?
Oh, yeah. And to emphasize this, Fisk basically tells Donovan that he owns him, that his life belongs to him.
Oh, wow.
Then Cranston shows up and tells Fisk that everything is in place for his release. And to show just how ruthless he is, Fisk murders Donovan right there in his cell.
Jeez. So he's sending a message, right? He's back, and he's not messing around.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a new drug. Fisk is about to be released. What else is happening in Hell's Kitchen?
Well, Karen's still at the hospital, keeping vigil by Mary Walker's bedside, when all of a sudden the ER is flooded with a ton of overdose victims.
Oh, no, it's the new drug, right? The one Turk mentioned.
Yeah, and it's total chaos. People are freaking out. They're violent. They're terrified. And then one woman, she just keeps saying one word, fear.
Fear. So it's not just hallucinations. It's like a targeted attack on people's minds.
Yeah, and that's when Karen starts to realize that this drug, this fear drug, it's connected to everything else that's been going on.
It all starts to make sense now. The green mist, the strange behavior, the overdoses, it's all part of some larger plan.
Right. So meanwhile, Daredevil's been tracking down the Dragos. He finds them at this wax museum, which is pretty creepy.
Yeah, oh, I bet.
He has this really weird encounter with Zoltan Drago, who's, talking about this whole philosophy of how fearlessness is essential for leadership.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and he's using figures from history as examples like FDR, Stalin, Castro, even Trump. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide range of figures to choose from.
Yeah, but it kind of gives you this sense of the kind of messed up worldview that Drago has. So later that night, Daredevil breaks into the museum, but he gets ambushed by these thugs who are wearing gas masks, and they immediately hit him with the green mist.
Oh, no, not again.
Yeah, he can't catch a break, right?
So what does he do?
Well, he's still feeling the effects from before, but he fights back.
Okay.
He's using Elektra's Psi, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's like he's channeling her spirit or something.
Right, and then this voice starts taunting him over the PA system, just saying one word over and over, fear.
Oh, wow, that's so creepy. So that they're messing with his head while they're attacking him.
Yeah, it's really effective. And he ends up fighting this huge tattooed guy, and in the middle of this fight, there's all this talk about a prison break happening at Rikers Island.
Oh, no. This is what Fisk has been planning, right? He was orchestrating everything from inside.
It seems so.
Yeah.
And the breakout seems to be tied to his release.
This is going to be bad. Really bad.
Yeah. So Daredevil, he's fighting all these thugs, and he ends up in this brutal showdown with this martial artist who's really, really skilled.
So it's like an all-out assault on him, physically and mentally. They're really trying to break him.
Totally. And it almost works.
Yeah.
He gets thrown through a window, and it looks like this martial artist is about to finish him off. But then suddenly, the masked figure Fear shows up.
Oh, so he's involved in this fight now, too.
Yeah, and he's about to deliver the killing blow, but then out of nowhere, the Punisher appears and shoots the martial artist.
It's a Punisher. Talk about an unexpected entrance. So he saves Daredevil's life.
Yeah. They have this brief, kind of tense exchange, and then we cut to Rikers Island, and Wilson Fisk is just calmly walking out of the prison as the whole place is descending into chaos.
It's like he's the eye of the storm, right? Everything around him is falling apart, but he's completely unfazed.
Totally. So we go back to the hospital, and Karen's watching all this chaos unfold on the news, the overdoses, the prison break, and she's talking to Ellison, who's really worried about everything.
Yeah, I mean, the city's falling apart around them. It's like everything's gone haywire.
And then there are these explosions near the hospital.
Oh, no.
It's just this escalating sense of crisis, And then the last shot of the episode is Mary Walker's eyes opening.
Oh, wow. So she's waking up.
She is, and she looks terrified.
It's like she's waking up into a nightmare.
Exactly. So, we've got this really, really tense cliffhanger ending, and it makes you wonder, what's going to happen next?
Right. I mean, there's so many things up in the air. Fisk is out. Daredevil is back, but struggling. The city is in chaos. What a way to end an episode.
It's a wild ride, right? And I think, it really brings us back to this question. What does without fear actually mean? Is it just the villain's thing, or is it something that Daredevil needs to figure out for himself? Is he still the Daredevil we know, the man without fear?
Yeah, and how will the Punisher fit into all of this? I mean, he's always been this unpredictable force of nature, and with Fisk back in the mix, things are bound to get even more explosive.
For sure. And with Mary Walker waking up, she could be a key player in all of this, too.
Absolutely. She's the only one who has really experienced the effects of this fear toxin firsthand. She might be the key to understanding how it works and how to stop it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about what might have happened if they had actually made this script. Like, what direction would the show have gone in?
Right. It's a fascinating glimpse into a possible future that never came to be. Would Daredevil have been able to overcome these new challenges? Would he have teamed up with the Punisher to take down Fisk? Would Mary Walker have played a role in the fight? There are so many possibilities.
A lot to think about.
It is.
So thank you for taking this deep dive with us. It's been a wild ride exploring this alternate path for Daredevil.
It really has. It's amazing to see the creative process at work and to imagine all the different ways a story can unfold.
Exactly. And hopefully this has given you guys some food for thought about the complexities of fear, heroism, and what it really means to be a vigilante in a world where the lines between good and evil are constantly shifting.
Yeah, because in the end, maybe we all need a little bit of fear to keep us grounded, to remind us of what's at stake.
Right.
But it's how we face that fear that truly defines us.
Well said.
Thanks. I'm full of those today.
Until next time, you guys.
Thanks for tuning into Pindrop Perspectives. I hope you appreciated hearing what could have been with Daredevil without fear. If you enjoyed this content, I encourage you to like and subscribe to Pindrop Entertainment on YouTube, or follow the Pindrop Perspectives podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or iHeartRadio. Next week, don't forget to stop by for a listen, as Mark and Jen will dive into a found footage horror screenplay that's both unique and unsettling. That's all for now, but as always, remember, keep your perspectives open. Artificial intelligence was used to assist in generating audio content for this episode.